What's happening, PricePlow Nation and all you diet fans out there? My name is Mike Roberto. I'm the founder of PricePlow, and this is a YouTube channel and a tech and media company where we cover oftentimes the dietary supplement industry, news, reviews, and interviews, but we're also getting into a lot of diet research and food stuff. And I'm talking about beef and meat and eggs and all that good stuff. But instead, today is day 2 of Oatmeal Week. Now, why this is interesting is because I'm wearing a constant glucose monitor, and I don't know if you can see that here, but it's at 93 right now is my blood sugar monitor. Every time, this Dexcom G6, every 5 minutes, it takes a blood sugar reading. And yesterday, previously on PricePlow, I showed exactly why you shouldn't send your kid off to school with just a bowl of oatmeal and banana, something that too many of us have had fed to us for way too long. What happened was that my blood sugar spiked, it then crashed. I was kind of anxious, but overall I was just really hungry the whole time through. And the reason being is because we weren't, in my opinion, we're gonna find out here today, we weren't leveraging protein. We weren't pairing a protein. And what we need from proteins are the essential amino acids. The word essential means you gotta get them in through your diet, maybe some supplementation, which we're gonna do here today, but you gotta get them in through diet because your body can't synthesize them itself. So I had a meal that was 337 calories. It was about 69.3 or so grams of carbohydrates, and it was only like 9 grams of protein, which is simply unacceptable for someone my age, but for anyone really, because if that's the first meal of the day, you need a whole lot more. Otherwise, you're not going to get enough protein unless you catch up later on. And we'll talk about that in the post credits where I'll tell you the rest of the story of the rest of my day yesterday. So blood sugar spiked, blood sugar crashed, and then I was also behind on my diet. It was an overall bad situation, and that's why I consider if you just send your kid off with no serious proteins and just a bunch of carbs, they're just gonna get hungry 2 hours later. And that's why we're constantly in this culture of snacking until maybe our bodies finally get enough protein in. It's the protein and some essential fatty acids, but it's the proteins that our bodies need. And the protein I was getting from the oatmeals and the banana, not exactly complete proteins either, so not enough. Today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the same amount of carbohydrates, but watch what happens to my blood sugar when I pair in a protein powder. And I will fully disclose it is going to be NutraBio's 100% Whey Protein Isolate. I chose this because first off, it's my favorite flavor, pancakes and maple syrup, and it blends so well with with oatmeal. Also, because it's third-party lab tested, it's full disclosure down to I know how much sucralose is in here. And there's only 1 carbohydrate and no fat. So there's gonna be basically a pure protein that's not gonna impact my experiment very much. The other thing I do need to disclose though is that this product was sent for free, and NutraBio is a sponsor of the PricePlow website. That much has been made very clear. They got some stuff back here. I love the products. But I'm not here to sell NutraBio. You can go to PricePlow.com/NutraBio and read a little bit more if you want to. This is more about talking about pairing protein, because at the end of the day, I'm not even into this whole oatmeal and protein thing as opposed to for breakfast, I really believe in steak and eggs. So I want real food nutrients. But if you are into the whole oatmeal thing, I do think you gotta pair it with a protein. I wanna see what happens for real though with my blood sugar, because we're gonna be testing that every 5 minutes with this glucose monitor here. So that's the whole story right there, but I chose this product because of the minimal impact on carbs and fats, and because it tastes so good in oatmeal. Now, yesterday I came in with a workout, so I was insulin sensitive and I was fasted. I have the same exact situation today. Nearly 16 hours of fasting went down and we are ready to go. So what I'm doing though, I have already measured in the banana and the oatmeal. Let's cut to that really quick. Right, day 2, same oatmeal, looking for 60 grams. Boom, that last flake, got it. Add a little bit more because we are adding protein to this one, so a little bit extra water is not a bad thing. How's she looking? Yesterday we did an extra 20 seconds, but we're doing it again. As for our banana, oatmeal's done over there. As for our banana, 122 grams is what we need because we are getting 1 carb out of our protein powder. So I got this frozen which will help cool down the oatmeal as well, and frozen bananas are the only way to banana. Okay, so this is a bit big. Let's see how we perfect. Too little. Oh, 122. There we go. And the oatmeal's ready. Perfect. Let's get these cut up and go upstairs. And yes, I need to close that. Chaos over here. Let's do it. And we're back. So yes, I do have oatmeal and banana here. No sweetener, no nothing added. The banana is the sweetener. But I only went with 122 grams of banana because we have a 1 carbohydrate in the scoop of protein. So just 1 carb, but I am knocking that carb out of the banana. I want things to be exactly the same, but they're not isocaloric because the protein's adding some calories here. So we're talking about 444 calories versus 337, and those extra calories are coming from the extra protein. Let's have at it. I'm gonna measure this scoop out because what we need to get the 25 grams of protein that we want, and that's typically the kind of the standard that we have, is 29.55 grams of actual powder here. And then that equates to 25 grams of protein. This is a very, very pure protein powder with just some dash of sweetener and then just a dash of flavoring. And there we go, 29.55 grams. Oh, and just, the dash of xanthan gum in here, which I find is working really well. The solo xanthan gum with no guar gum mixes really well with coffee as long as it's not too hot, and it mixes really well with the oatmeal. Oh my God, this stuff smells so good. I got the banana smells and I got the pancake maple syrup, the syrupy flavor here. So, okay, we're gonna quickly eat this up. Let's look at our starting time and our starting blood sugar. Down to 91, it is 2:56 p.m. I'll tell you why I got a late start today, and that'll be in the post credits. Let's just chow down. Took me 3 minutes yesterday to eat all that. Well, first off, even if you don't believe in this experiment, you don't believe in pairing protein, and you're an idiot if you don't believe in that, even if this doesn't work as well as I think it should, it tastes 1,000 times better. It's unbelievable how good this protein powder tastes. Yesterday, the banana is the sweetener that kind of helped made the protein a little bit better. Right now, the banana actually brings down the average on this. That's how good this protein powder tastes. Trying to go faster to simulate little Tommy going off to school super fast. Everyone's in a hurry. No one gets enough sleep anymore. Tell little Tommy he's not allowed to have his phone in his room. Tell little Tommy, or was it Timmy yesterday? Whatever, today is Tommy. Tell little Tommy his phone stays on the kitchen counter. You go to bed 9 p.m., get real sleep, so then we're not rushing to cram 10 pounds of food down your throat. But that's what we're doing. We're eating this fast. We get like an hour less sleep than we did even like 2 decades ago. You know how bad that is for your health in literally every single aspect. Not just weight. Everything. I will say, I still prefer steak and eggs. This is quicker to eat. You just trough this glop down your throat. 259. We started, oh look at that, I just dropped down to 87. I'm not sure if that was because of the anticipation the insulin starts secreting. It happened yesterday too. And the insulin starts secreting, I think. The second like I smell something sweet or cut that banana, and then that starts to shuttle the blood sugar away. Thankfully for me, I am in a post-workout state, so a lot of that blood sugar is gonna get shuttled into the muscle cells. For everyone else, if you haven't had a workout, you might want to watch out and not pair it with too much fat because that sugar is going straight to the liver and eventually you might overflow. And if you eat way too many carbs, that could even go to the fat storage too. So I'd like to keep the carbs, everything with protein I like to do. And we'll see how this works out. I like to keep everything though, carbs and fats, I do like to keep separate. And we can talk about that later on. This is a whole different video here. But today we're just talking about pairing our carbs with proteins. So I'm going to go into the post credits now and we will see you as the blood sugar impact kind of happens, and we'll see if we go into the 150s this time. All right, it's been about a half hour and the ramp is starting. We are flying on up there. This might not work as well as I thought it was going to, but we're gonna keep on going. Now what I will notice is that I am not even nearly as hungry as I was at this time yesterday. Yes, I am having more calories, but I also think protein does play a big part of that. The other thing is I was hungry though for the first like 4 or 5 minutes. Like I think the sweetness of those sweeteners makes you want more. And that's something that a lot of people need to be aware of, but you like gotta calm down, let the protein do its work, and let the food do its work, and then I'm not as hungry. Question is, am I gonna be hitting 155 here? We'll be back in a bit. Minor update, the alarm did go off. I went over 130, but it peaked at 142. I'm already rounding on back down, but we'll see. Sometimes you get a second surge back up, so we'll see what happens. Once I started on my way back down, that's when I noticed I was hungry again. So that's really interesting, where I'm getting to the point where I'm really realizing how the hunger aspect plays into it. But let's see where the rest of this chart ends up. Hopefully we're done. And in that case, I would consider it a moderate success because we have a less of a spike than yesterday with more calories. So the thing is though, maybe we should do even more protein and possibly even replace the protein in the carbs. But let's let the data keep running. All right, I still have about 20 more minutes to go, but I think the story is told here. This is a far, to me, a better situation. I have a slow roll out, which is what you'd want with a complex carb, but it's really having the protein out that's dragging it out. And I never had a spike. I never went over like a 140 or anything. And that's where there could be potential kidney damage if they're like for too long. But instead though, I have a longer, like a larger area under the curve as they call it. And that's a bit more of a prolonged energy yield, I guess you could say, but at the same time, I didn't have a spiking crash. I am a little bit hungry. I'm not nearly as hungry as I was yesterday, both because there's a little bit of protein and some extra calories involved here. Now, to me, it was a moderate success because it still wasn't a great success. I've seen situations where I've eaten like over 2,000 calories and it had less of an impact than this. And that's, you'll have to subscribe to the channel, we'll have to show it because it's an interesting thing that can happen if you don't eat as many carbs at all. And so what we're gonna do is I wanna kind of show how we can, first off, by further leveraging protein. The thing that we did here is that, yeah, it's good that we added 25 grams of protein, but what I'm realizing is that it's actually better if you want to go for absolute leanness. Now, I'm not talking about sending your kid off to school and everything, although I would still want to try to do this. I'm talking about going for leanness. There is something known as the protein to energy ratio. And it was kind of created by Dr. Ted Naiman, who is pushing for a far higher protein diet. And a lot of this is based off of the protein leverage hypothesis that I quickly talked about in the last video. So I want to start talking about testing these theories a little bit, but in general, if you can make this happen, if you can keep protein, and I'm talking about total grams, we're not talking about calories, we're talking about grams of protein, equal or greater than the combined total of carbs and fats, then you are going to be a lot leaner. Now it becomes challenging though, because you're gonna wanna up fats a little bit. You're gonna have to basically substitute out a lot of these carbs for protein. What I did here, I still had a very poor protein to energy ratio. I still had basically 1 gram of protein for every 3 grams of carbs plus fats. And that's not that good. If you do that all day long, in order to get your requirement of protein, you're gonna way overshoot the calories. And it's really, to me, it's the carbs that are kind of getting in the way there. So another thing we could do in this series is what I could do is I could start substituting out the carbs, substitute out the banana completely, and then doing protein instead. We could see how that works. So do 2 scoops of protein, no banana. That's gonna probably yield even better results. Then another thing we could try doing is simply slamming more protein and fat at the equation and maybe keeping carbs the same or maybe bringing them down a little bit, but having way more calories. But because so many of them are protein and a little bit less of them are carbohydrate, then maybe we can just throw more food at the problem and actually the body will uptake it. I think my body is still wanting more protein at the end of the day, especially in the situation where I'm post-workout, especially in the situation where I haven't eaten a whole lot. So I'm not protein leveraged right now. That's the end of the story. This wasn't enough, but it was better. At the same time, still area under the curve, still a lot of blood sugar going on, but not to like crazy harsh levels. And it wasn't as harsh for as long. I just went over the alarm for just a half second and then it was gone. So a good success, but I still believe that what I did here was not even nearly enough. So subscribe to the channel. Let's mess around with those a little bit more. But I think what we're gonna do next is we're gonna take the banana and the oatmeal, same 69.3 grams of carbohydrates or whatever, and we're gonna see if some of these glucose disposal agents can help shuttle this into my muscles as well. That's a thing that a lot of the athletes are doing a lot when they're trying to suck up as many carbohydrates as possible. At the same time, I think it's almost as useless because there's a better way of doing this, and I believe that's with lots of meat, lots of healthy fat, and less carbohydrate, and making the whole switch. But I still like to pepper in a little bit of carbohydrate to keep me going and keep me eating. So we're kind of dialing down where we want to be. This wasn't perfect, but it was improved. I'd like to say, once again, thank you to NutraBio for sending this tub on over, and thanks to everyone for supporting PricePlow. This is just the beginning. It's day 2 of Oatmeal Week, so let's test out some of these glucose disposal agents, or GDAs, and then let's try to really leverage protein, and let's go like 75, or we'll figure out what the ratio of protein to oatmeal is that's best. I think I could do better in the same or similar amount of calories, but not have as much impact. We'll see how we do it. But in terms of like sending your kid off to school, because that's where I said, like, if you just do the oatmeal and banana, that's like a minor form of child abuse. Up and down, I'm freaking hungry the whole time, all anxious and everything, got none of that. But so in terms of that, I do believe adding protein to this oatmeal is better. It's just not, it's not good enough. It's not as good as steak and eggs. It's just not. And the steak and the eggs, neither of those are unhealthy. You gotta unbrainwash yourself from a lot of that. The oatmeal, there's literally like nothing that you really need in that oatmeal. It is just cheap filler calories, and it's disastrous if you use it all on its own. I don't care what stamps they have on this, what kind of hearts or what kind of approvals or whatever kind of sponsorship was going on. Oatmeal on its own, sending your kid off to school, what's the point? It's literally almost useless. That's all I gotta say. So while oatmeal plus protein and then send them off to school, I think we'd be better, and they're gonna have more sustained energy to maybe get them through lunch. It's still not enough protein, and there's pretty much no essential fatty acids in here. I think you still need that. You still need omega-3s. Like, not enough stuff got done. Steak and eggs is still where it's gonna be. And I'm not only steak and eggs, but I love my steak and eggs, obviously. But it can be ground beef and eggs, it can be salmon, lots and lots of things. But at the same time, we don't need carb, especially if you're not ultra active, and especially if you're not pairing it with a protein. Thanks for watching. You can follow me personally on Twitter. We have a lot of stuff going on Instagram and everything. I'm not as busy on Instagram, trying to, but it's just, I don't know, it's just too much for me. And then we can now go into that end screen and the rest of the story. See ya.
Welcome to PricePlow.
All right, what's going on, everyone? Yeah, we're not doing the end screen just yet. We are going into the post credits. I guess this is going to turn into a bit of a vlog here as we document my journey. So let's talk about the rest of the day, what happened yesterday, because like I said, I was way behind on my protein. So what I went down is I slammed about 1.5 pounds of food. I had like 7 eggs, I had 14 ounces of beef, and I probably should have had more, because then I got invited to play a doubleheader in softball. I didn't get home until 10, and at that point I needed way more food. I was a little bit late on protein, and so I had another 11 ounces of T-bone steak, and that doesn't include the bone, of course, the T-bone steak meat, and then I had a scoop of that right there, and Whey Isolate strawberry ice cream, and then that closed my shop down for the day and got my 250 to 260 grams of protein. But everything was delayed. Now the reason I bring this up is because what I'm learning and what I've realized, and other people have, it happens too. If you eat too late in the day, your blood sugar is gonna be railed high all morning and even mid-afternoon long. The whole next day is off. And so you have a lot of these people who talk about, oh, calories in, calories out, doesn't matter when you eat your calories out. They're wrong. They're literally wrong. I watch it happen. My insulin is high. I assume, here's what I'm assuming. My blood sugar is high, therefore my insulin is still working. My insulin is still high. We can't test insulin like with a device like this. But the point is that entire time my blood sugar is railed high the whole next morning. And it goes off in weird times too. When it's high, you can assume that I'm not burning much fat. And so the timing thing is a big thing. Even in this experiment that I did here, the protein, I think you should have your protein first and then your oatmeal. There's studies that show that that has way less of a blood sugar impact. But here, we like to pair our stuff because I want to put the protein into the oatmeal. So anyway, that's what happened. Now, as far as the softball game goes, we're getting real personal now. I drove off, and yesterday was the launch of Christian Guzman's Ghost Legend V3 pre-workout supplement, and it already sold out in 24 hours, so by the time you see this, it's long gone. But man, this stuff's awesome. So I took my third scoop of that on the way there. And the last time I played softball with these folks, I'm gonna be honest, I went 0 for 3 with a walk, which is horrible in slow pitch softball. And it was the first time I was playing with these guys. I felt like crap. So I came back in for a doubleheader, and dude, I was focused. I had a lot of alpha GPC on top of the 7 eggs I ate. So I had a lot of choline in me. Maybe too much, I don't know. But I was focused like crazy. I saw like the threads of the baseball slowly coming to my bat. It was perfect. And overall for the night, I hit like 5 for 6. I played center field and was running around a whole lot. And man, I'm sore and I am tired because it was like a lot of sprint work. And when I do high intensity interval training, it's either on the elliptical thing that I got over there, it's burpees, or it's in the swimming pool. I don't run enough, and I got worked yesterday. I'm not a land animal, but wow. So definitely needed a lot of protein when I got back, and I was all off because I had too many carbs up front. But either way, I don't know if anyone's looking for a good softball supplement, but Ghost Legend, if they put out that Guzman V3 again, holy crap, that was great focus. And that's the rest of the story. So thanks for sticking around. Now let's go to the end screen. But please, pair your carbs with proteins or have the protein first.